Back with another episode of Circle of Trades. I'm Todd Studer and Travis Waldstein, Air Serv Heating and Air Conditioning, and Waldstein Plumbing. Back Mike's side. And I'm not sure. There's so many different things to talk about besides the trades. We finally got a basketball coach hired at Iowa, and it was the guy I think you wanted, isn't it?
Yes, 100% without a doubt. Absolutely.
That was Ben McCollum. Brought him. He was at Northwest Missouri State 2 years ago, spent a year at Drake. I saw the Drake athletic director didn't look real happy.
You know, do you blame him?
No, I can't blame him. No.
The last three coaches Drake are now in the Big Ten. Nedved's at Minnesota. DeVries is at Indiana. And then McCollum's at Iowa. So,
I think Drake just ought to join the Big Ten, and then that would solve that problem, right?
Well, he'd be better than Rutgers.
Oh, jeez.
And they're probably just as much of a basketball school as Nebraska is, but of course Iowa hasn't been worth a damn the last few years either. So.
No, it's been slim pickings, and I mean they made a run in the NIT one year, but other than that, it's been rough.
Iowa has been any better. I mean, I love to talk. I love to talk smack on Nebraska kids, but Iowa men's basketball has been horrible. But I like what I heard. You know, I mean, it's good. They got out of the way. You know, spring's coming up. Football's, football practice starts today. I'm actually going over in 2 weeks for a Saturday. What was it? Children's Square had a benefit last December, and one of the deals was that go tour the football facilities and sit through practice and go have lunch with Kirk. So, April 5th, we're going over, and a Saturday we're going to come hang out, and we're going to have a good time with that. So. You should run a recorder if you get to have a conversation with him. I've interviewed him before. He's incredibly nice and incredibly gracious and makes time for everybody. I mean, from the press side, you couldn't ask for a nicer guy. Hey, now, I got Rilla. I can record. It's only one way. Only one person can say it in the state of Iowa. I can record all I want.
Say, what do you think of the background here for those who are watching this on YouTube and not just the audio version? I got this was taken just north of town at Lewis and Clark Monument.
I was going to say,
it was a sunset last year.
You're making Lake Manawa look really good, but
that's not Lake Manawa. Actually, if you think about it, from here, I took the picture, and I'm standing in Iowa, but I'm looking at Nebraska because it looks over across the river.
Yeah, there's some neat views up there along the river. I mean, I get up north of town, up by DeSoto, up in that area.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely, especially if there's some water, which in them pictures there's some water. But
yeah, we'd had a lot of rain then, and different flooding going on and stuff.
Must have been April and May because mean, when it dried up in June, July, it was done. So,
but anyway, we should actually do something worthwhile other than just killing time talking sports and nature pictures.
I could do that all day long. So, but
you just got back from a bit of a road trip, didn't you?
Yeah, went down to Texas on Thursday. Sat at a conference for about 2 hours, and then turned around and came home.
Just couldn't take any more of it.
Well, it is what it is. So, I'm one for word. I'm one not to mince words, and I like to stay out of jail. So,
so you got out before you were escorted out, is what you're saying?
Pretty much, yes. Okay. And I knew where things were going, so it was just best. It's one of the things of being when you're doing life, when you deal with business, sometimes you have to have less than great conversations, and happen to have one of them. And, when you got 30 years in a business and someone tells you can't do something, and, it happens. So, welcome to business is not all fun and games. I don't care what anybody says.
Speaking of business, I mean, things are finally warming up. I would say that we've reached spring, but as we are recording this, we're expecting 80 in a couple of days, and then there's snow in the forecast 2 days after that.
Well, you know what? I'm going to be in Vegas. I'm going out to the Rig Dealer Conference on Saturday, and I'll come back on Wednesday. So hopefully the snow will come and gone and be melted.
Oh, it'll be long gone by then, yeah.
No, there is finally some signs here about the last 10 days that things are really starting to spring is starting to be here. The weather's cooperating. We're seeing some stuff, just in projects that are bidding over the winter time. As far as business wise goes, on the HVAC side, it was pretty flat. If I'm on plumbing side, in March has been a great month, and we got a lot of stuff going on the plumbing side, and really appreciate that. The drain cleaning, especially, I know that's something we're, really wanting to get more into and be able to do work for customers. And so that's been a huge benefit. We got a guy that's dedicated to it now. He's really good with it. So I'm happy with what we're doing. And I know you had Hayden on last week, and I'm glad he got to come on and speak for a little bit on your morning show. And then we did the podcast as well. And no, I'll tell you what, he's busy right now. He's probably busier than what I am as far as just service work. But he's kept together, and he's got days where it's like, why did I get into this? But
well, while you have the chance, you probably ought to sing him a little praises, because you had a really nice post on social media recently about Hayden, and because he's doing everything he needs to do and he's getting it all done right.
Yeah, and here's the deal. I mean, he is my son, and here's, if you understand anything about me and how I operate and how I treat my kids, my kids when growing up, if there was trouble, I usually figured they were guilty until they proved to me they were innocent. That's me as a father. So, my kids, I didn't do anything, and I tell you, blah, 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 blah. But, I was that father. So I was also one of them fathers that also told my kids, I said, if you think I'm paying your way through school, I said, life don't work like that. So, and if you want to pay for your kids through school, that's great. But, there's no such thing as a free ride. And, I wanted to raise my kids to be independent and take care of themselves in that. And, but no, Hayden has been doing this since at least 15. He did some stuff even before that, but really when he was 15, he started working for us part-time, just doing stuff in the shop and in the summertime and after football. And, and then he, after high school, he went to the Marines, and he basically did HVAC and plumbing and water filtration systems when he was in the Marine Corps. He got a lot of experience, stuff that especially the water filtration, I've not really done much of that. But he got his journeyman's license for Iowa right after he got back from getting out of the Marine Corps. But he was eligible to take his mechanical master for the state of Iowa. That's heating, air conditioning, refrigeration, hydronics. So he's got his master's license for Iowa now, which is huge. It's fantastic. It's he's put in a lot of time and a lot of work, and he got over that hurdle, and then he'll be taking the plumbing test here in about 2 months for the master. He's had his journeyman for as long as he's had for plumbing too, so he'll be testing for that. Which is huge, because then, with the plumbing stuff, he doesn't have to have dear old dad watching over his shoulder so much, because it's his license, not my license. Right. I can say, you know what, son, it's yours. But listen, he's responsible. I'd say he's probably more of an adult on some days than what I am, but he's got a lot going on. He's, young, married, got twins going home, and, 27, maybe 28 in August, running a business. He's busy, probably busier than he thought he'd be, but, kids working his tail off. And as a parent, you always want your kids to outdo what you did. And I might have been a starting point for him, but he's, and all my kids have done well. Don't get me wrong. I've got great kids. But, him to follow in my footsteps into the trade, that says a lot, because a lot of HVAC guys, you don't always see second generation, third generation. Sometimes you do, but not nearly as much as you used to. So I'm pretty proud of that kid. So,
well, and he's proof of everything that you've been talking about since we started this, that there is a very successful route to go, besides just the traditional way. Now, he went and spent time in the Marines and learned a lot of stuff there.
Yeah.
And that was a huge learning curve for him. But then coming back out, learning inside of an existing company, and then eventually seeing a need, if he hadn't grown up in that, he wouldn't have been he wouldn't have seen that need. It wouldn't have been on his radar. And
No,
now it is a growing plumbing business.
it's actually a lot of fun, I mean, to see that. And here's the other part to that too. And this isn't even about Hayden, but we had two guys that graduated through the apprenticeship program. We use for heating and air conditioning. We use CEU Authority out of Des Moines for their apprenticeship program, and then we do stuff in house and have guys work in the field. We had two more guys. They completed the apprenticeship program, and then they tested for their Iowa journeyman here in February. So that's kind of a cool deal because now I've got well over half my staff has got their HVAC or plumbing journeyman. I mean I've got a lot more journeymen than I do apprentices at this point. I mean I've got guys that got anywhere from I'm the old guy. I got 30 years, but but a lot of my guys got anywhere from 10 to 15 years. I'm starting to get a lot of guys that have been around for a long time, and they've developed and they've grown. And in this thing, I mean, it hasn't always been easy because they're doing classes after hours or whatever not. But they're able to advance. They're able to learn. They're being productive. None of them have any school debt. And they're able to make a good living with it. That's huge. I can't stress to you how that is. And and they're able to and they may not always stay with me forever. I understand that, but they'll be in a position they'll never have to worry about a job. They'll always have something to fall back onto. And now with the plumbing part, I got some of them guys that got their journeyman on the HVAC side that they're wanting to go back and get their plumbing stuff too. That's kind of a fun deal that guys a year ago they're kind of like, oh, I don't want to do plumbing. Oh, hey, this actually isn't as bad as what we thought it was. It's actually kind of fun. So
Well, that's again, having real world examples, I think, of what you're talking about, and especially when it's just so close to home. It's encouraging, and also as you just talked about, the success you're seeing with everybody else in the company, and what can happen then. And this is where it truly benefits you, is just kind of it's self-perpetuating. So because the younger guys and the apprentices see people ahead of them achieve the goals that they have set for themselves, it makes them want to do it even more.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's what we're seeing. And we've got a plumbing side of the apprenticeship program. We're actually working with a guy here in town by the name of Tom Holm that has been doing apprentices for years. I think if you talk to every plumber that's out doing it today, they've at one time or another have been through his program. So we're doing it on both sides. I'm a big believer in education as far as training people to get into the workforce, because if you don't train them, if you don't read, if you don't work with them, they're not going to know. And that's of no fault of their own. So and why do you want to go spend years doing this if you don't learn how to do it right? It's huge. So we take a lot of pride in that. And stories like with my son Hayden, he's got a twin brother that's worked for Amazon for 3-4 years now. It's been a while, but there was a time, if you'd have talked, I told Haney gets his master's and we get this plumbing stuff going. I said, your brother's got a good job in Seattle, but I said, if you're worried about where you're going to be, I said, you're going to be more than just fine. I mean, he's got a corporate job where he's got to answer somebody. I said, the difference is you'll have a job where everybody will answer to you. So at the end of the day, you might come out ahead on this whole thing. So, and that's no knock on her. He's got a heck of a job in Seattle. Even my youngest is in the Marine Corps. He's out in Yuma doing air traffic control. He doesn't know what he wants to do. One day he wants to come back and be in the business. Next day he wants to go do air traffic control, and he's got 2 years to figure out what the heck he's going to do. So.
Well, that's when you go and look for the tropical airports.
Minot, North Dakota. No, that's not tropical.
No, that's we're Why not North Dakota? Summer, the nicest 3 days of the year.
Yeah, 3 days of the year. Yeah. So my cousin this year said, "Why not? Why not?" And I said, "I can tell you why, because it's too stinking cold."
Most of the time, yeah.
Oh God! But
You also have to deal. I mean, you take care of the things that are under your control and things that you can, but not everything is.
no,
And I know that you wouldn't think that all the talk of tariffs and everything that's been going on lately would have much of an effect on what it is that you do, but it really kind of does, doesn't it?
it's starting to, and we go into the politics all day, and go spend 10 minutes on Facebook, and somebody's pissed off at the other side. But but the reality is, the tariffs are here. Anything that's pretty much manufactured outside the United States, if it's built in China, if it's built in Canada, if it's built in Mexico, if they have factories in the United States, there's not necessarily the 25% tariff, but maybe the components are built outside of the country. And so the components is that, let's say everything's assembled in the United States. Well, if the components coming in are coming from Mexico or Venezuela, them parts and components, you're starting to see the tariffs on that. So that's one of the things that we're starting to see now. So you're starting to see on the plumbing side, there's literally some brass suppliers, some other people to work daily. There's price increases. Some of them, it's here's the price till 4 o'clock. You call tomorrow morning, the price might be the same. So if you want it or order it, you better order it today. We have not seen it on the HVAC side. PVC has actually been down as far as cost goes, but we're seeing on equipment. There's a couple things. Refrigerant change is one thing and that's starting to really rear its head. But we've had a pretty good promotion running through the end of March, and I haven't told you this, if we're going to run it for the first couple weeks in April, but we're going to start to see some price increases, 15-20% price increases just on equipment coming up, and every manufacturer is doing it. So, a price you got a year ago, and while prices have stayed pretty flat, well, now you're going to start to see, that shift again. And, the equipment's kind of getting out there now as it is, as far as I'm concerned, and it's going to get worse. And, unfortunately, at the end of the day, it all gets passed to the consumer ends up paying it. I buy the equipment and then I sell it to you, and et cetera. It's just, it's a cycle. There's good and bad with it, but you just understand that it's out there, and the best thing you can do is plan ahead, or if there's an opportunity to buy when there's a promotion. I'm not giving you a free furnace if you buy an air conditioner. I don't run that promotion. I just don't like it. But if I say, hey, this is, usually March is the best time to buy. That's the time, because you're coming out of air conditioning, winter season, going to air conditioning season, and this is about the time you start to see price increases. And last year we didn't see a lot. This year, yeah, and I've had talk with customers. I had one call me the other day. I said, if you'd have called me 2 weeks later, I said, your price would have went up $1,500. But he called and we're installing the system today to kind of get you an idea. So it's there. It's very real. It's what do you do?
Yeah, it's one of those things that, regardless of how you feel about it and how the political side, it's just reality, and you got to deal with it. And so you just plug ahead and have to figure out how to work inside of that system and look for. I mean, are you still seeing the same type of government rebates and different things like that on some of the more efficiency units?
That's the one thing. The rebates are locked in until 2032. That's the good part about what's going on. So the rebates are available, tax credits are available, all that stuff's available. That's not going away. That stuff is all there. It's just literally the price of the equipment. Now, just because equipment goes up 15% or 25% does not mean the price of the job is going to go up 25%. But you have to understand, equipment is my biggest cost on any job. So if it goes up 15-20%, it's probably overall going to go up 5 to 10%, depending on what it is. And just because it's that big, a big part of a percentage of what you do.
Well, that's tough conversations, I'm sure, to have with people, and you're getting better at it than you probably want to be.
Well, yeah, this is the time stuff where do stuff like preventive maintenance. It's like owning an old car. If you own an old car, you take care of it. You might put a little bit of money into it. You're going to be all right. But if you don't take care of it, then also you're going to pay. It's going to cost you more if you go to upgrade. Go buy a car these days. Buying a truck is not. Buying a truck or buying a car is not a cheap endeavor by any stretch of the
No, no, no,
imagination.
no, 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 no.
You think, well, God, this truck 5 years ago only cost this much. Yeah, you're right. And then COVID hit, and the shortage hit, and the prices aren't going to go back down. So that's it as I hate to say it, and it's a kind of term I use. It is what it is. So.
Well, it's good that you're starting to see the turnaround and with the change in the weather, and I'm sure that things are getting a little easier on your son now that the ground isn't quite as frozen as it was.
Yeah.
That has to really slow things down.
Yeah, we're really. I can tell you, we've got some cool stuff. We finally got our. We had to do some work on the front end of our office because we brought in another gal and a new gal named Maddie that's going to work with Jane in the front end, answering inbound calls and scheduling. And so far, she's in military, but she's been doing fantastic. Kendall Pride helped me find her through her.
I just met with Kendall today.
Yeah, with Let's Town. I mean, she did me great. She's got to send me an invoice. I can't find the invoice. Maybe she wants to say, "I'll send you the invoice," but no, she's got. But no, so we got that hired. We're in the process of hiring a CSR in the plumbing side, but we really feel like we're at a really good end on the customer service. And if you do call and we're busy, we have, and we've talked about this a couple times. We are using some AI technology to pick up our, when our phones are really busy to pick up. That has really kind of been a game changer for us. It's not a human, but let's be honest. As I put on a Facebook post yesterday, I'm tired of Bob calling me from India.
Yeah.
The guy that you can't say. At least with the Evoke AI, you can understand what they're saying, and it's a lot faster response time than where we can reach back out. We might actually get to a point where we use it maybe for some soft scheduling, I would call it. But that's been huge for us. We're really starting to see, when we talked with Jamie Bush with a couple weeks ago, and you're seeing AI and how some of the stuff like AI is just coming to be more of a part of our business just from the customer relation aspect, because if you embrace it, I'd say you have an opportunity where customers be calling around to, if we do a good job, potentially, lock in our customer, have someone that wants to do business with us. And AI is becoming a bigger part of that. You still need the human element, so we're not going to have robots doing all of it, but it's helped when the people are busy and you're not sitting on hold for 10 minutes because nobody wants to sit on hold for 10 minutes. So I've been very happy with that, and you're going to start to see some more stuff coming out with that. Like I said, I'm excited about that part, and I'm excited about the people we have in the office and what we'll do for now that we're finally getting out of March and we're getting into April, and things will be, very exciting as to put it. So I won't worry about things like golf courses being sold and some of the other stuff that I've read about here in Kansas. We're going to think positive here. So.
Yeah, that's a different conversation. And I met with somebody just yesterday, and that was a big part of the conversation of everything that's going on. And for those that listen to the show that are not from the area, they won't have a clue what we're talking about with that anyway. But speaking about AI, I actually used it this morning and was surprised that it has been learning. And it's, because I have an account on there, so it pays attention to the different things that I've done. And I needed it some suggestions on how to write something for me, and it did. Yeah. And I didn't tell it who I was. I didn't tell it, focus on this or that. It just knew. So it's been learning me, and was happy and a little unsettled at the same time.
Hey, you'll be glad to know that it knows I'm not saying duck, but it also chew me out for saying that word. It says that's not very nice. And I'm like, are you going to not talk to me? I'll talk to you, just don't use that word. I had one of them. I'm like, really? I'm sure someone probably did some time to create that one, but I'm like,
No, I can't handle the voices. The AI voices I cannot handle. And I don't care how good they get. I don't want to hear them. And that's partly because of, what I do. I talk for a living mostly.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be replaced with that. And they keep getting better and better with it, but it's still, I can spot it.
You have to add the person element, but I think there's a lot of ways it helps with business on the web. When you're dealing with customers, when you're dealing with, I mean, I hate to even see Facebook or Google and how that's all being driven. And, from the business perspective, I'll call for what it is. We have these great 4x6 devices that everybody's got that everybody wants to get control or get a piece of to make sure they get your message out to them, if you know what I'm saying. So, and that's a lot of what AI's goal is, and businesses figuring it out. And if you think it's going away, it's definitely here to stay. And I said a year ago, I'm not really for it, but now I'm not like, ooh, yay. But I do see where the advantage is. And if it can make us faster, better, and help us get to our customers and do what we need to do, at the end of the day, it's going to be a technician. It's going to be coming out to fix your furnace or your toilet or whatever else. But, when we get busy, sometimes there's just enough people to be able to answer all the phones that are ringing. So we got to use technology where it can help our customer experience. And, there'll be some heartache with it, but all in all, I think it's overall a much better experience.
Well, that's, I'm been saying for a while that it's never going to replace a person. It's just a tool.
No.
And, it can make somebody's job a little bit easier and can speed things up a little bit. I mean, it definitely sped my job up today because I didn't have to spend a lot of time thinking about something there. So,
well, I'll give you another scenario. We use it's another company to where, when people call in, it's not a huge thing. We record conversations. And you hear, we record for quality and training purposes, blah, 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 blah. I mean, we've all heard that. And, it's just a way to say, well, we're recording. Well, we videotape our stuff. We take pictures. We document. We have a program that's able to listen to my technicians, when they're on a call and they're talking with a customer. And the big reason to do that is A, making sure they're doing their job, and making sure B, that they're communicating to the customer. I don't know if I would say the right way, but making sure A, we're being respectful, and B, we're telling the customer the right thing, and it's a tool that we use, with our technicians, and it's actually pretty neat what it does, and it puts some accountability too. So if a customer thinks something's not right, I can go back and listen to the call, and I can listen to the summary, and it can tell me about the conversation that went on. And we had one on Monday. Technician went out there, and the furnace was shot. It had broken rings, and it was putting off high levels of carbon monoxide. So at that point, it's not safe. We shut off the furnace. We disabled it. And so we started talking to the customer about different options. Unfortunately, that's the not so fun part of our business. It's like going to a doctor and telling you need to have heart surgery. It's not my idea of a good time. But we used it, we documented it, my technician talked to the customer, talked to the spouse, made sure everybody's the same. She called 3 hours later, was all mad because the furnace wasn't working. Yeah, because it's not safe. And that we shut off, and they were going to call Channel 6, and they were going to do this and do that. And it's like, time out. Let me go do this. And all of a sudden, I pulled up the information. You can see 53-minute conversation. He told him 15 times. But we didn't tell him. It's like, wait a minute here. I mean, it's, so I had to have that discussion. And he says, you called me a liar. I said, I'm not calling you a liar at all. I said, you heard what you heard. I'm just telling you, we told you there was a problem. And the customer's tone changed really fast because they're like, oh. And I said, hey, you know what? If my technician told you something wrong, then I go back and I have that conversation with him. So it's just an accountability piece to make sure that people are doing the jobs, doing it straight, and you're not getting BS, or you're not getting the high, what I call high pressure sales, if you know what I'm saying. So, but that's another example where AI, works in business. So. But,
Well, I was thinking about something you said just a little bit ago with those tariffs and components and different things coming in from whether it's China or someplace else like that. Has that slowed down your wife's Temu ordering?
She didn't mention it, but kind of funny. UPS dropped off a Temu order at 9:30 last night.
Back when my dad was alive, he used to order off of that thing, and he told me that it took so long to get there that a lot of times he'd forgotten what he'd ordered.
Oh God!
So it's like getting Christmas present. He doesn't know what's in there.
Oh, my wife will get a whole bag of stuff. It's kind of whatever. So, but
and now I've got some of it sitting here because after he passed, I brought a lot of his camping stuff back, his fishing stuff, and things like that. And yeah, I have so many little fishing swivels for the end of a fishing line. I'm set for life.
You're set for life. You ain't gonna need it.
I don't know what he was doing. Ordered all of this stuff.
Yeah. That's absolutely crazy. So. But wife's still doing Temu. I still buy stuff on Amazon. You're all still spending money. It just hurts a little bit more to do it. So
yeah.
But so
well, sir,
anything good going on in the show this week? I mean, I think you're doing your morning coffee, and then you're doing your show with Pot County. And I've listened to the morning coffee more than the Pot County. For some reason on YouTube, it's hard to find, but I don't know why.
Well, I'm working on cleaning some of that up, and we need to get things out to some of the other platforms, which we can do just strictly through a YouTube RSS feed, and that's gonna help with a lot of that stuff. So that once you can start finding the show on Spotify, and you can find it on Apple, and you can find it on Amazon and different places like that, I think it's going to help it out quite a bit, and. I am seeing over and over again how there is a real desire for local programming delivered however it's delivered. And this is just strictly web delivered. I put out it was embedded into the show, but it was a 7-second video of, you talked about Jamie, her husband, does the rodeo.
Yeah.
And he did phenomenal at the PRCA rodeo over the weekend and had a great ride as a steer wrestler. And I had that 7-second video of his ride, and yeah, it blew up.
Well, absolutely.
And that's local people wanting to see that kind of stuff. So that's why I do what I do. And that's why I focus on that, is we've got sirens going by outside and everything else right now.
Something's happening on the 100 block. There you go. They're going to Jenny or going to Mercy. So
no, that sounds like an ambulance, but I live on a route to the hospital.
Yeah.
So, that's, when I was setting up a studio, that wasn't something I really thought through.
Well, that's all right. So one other question I had for you, because you talked about this, because you've had, is it NAMI? Is that, am I, okay. I've lived here a long time, and I'm going to ask you what it is, because so what is that actually?
NAMI stands for National Alliance on Mental Illness, and this is an organization that helps folks that are either they themselves are dealing with something, or they have family members, and there's training, there's classes, there's a lot of different things that these folks can have free to them. So they have a walk coming up. That's going to take place on May 17th at River's Edge. And they asked me if I would come MC the walk. And I said, yes, I will. So and there was an event on last Saturday, kind of the kickoff event. So they went over how the whole thing works and where the money's going. And the cool thing about it is, this is the Southwest Iowa chapter. Every single dollar of the money raised in Southwest Iowa stays in Southwest Iowa.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And that's
huge.
That's kind of a cool thing. So that when you're donating to this and you're helping the folks out, because there's a lot of teams that are putting together for the walk, And you know that the money that you are donating towards that is going to stay right here, and it's going to help folks right here at home.
Yeah.
So,
oh, that's huge. I knew you talked about it. I'm like, I had to ask what it was. I kind of felt bad, but I'm like, hey, you know, there might be people that want to know about this.
yeah, and I
about it. So,
what was it? 2000? When was it? 2008 or 2009? I think was the first time that I went and I spoke at one of these events, and I've just always believed in it, and you know, and the work that they do, and that's more news on that coming up soon. But you can NamiWalks.org is where you go to get it either team signed up or make a donation or whatever. So
you wear that Falcons jersey. I saw you, and I might have you committed.
that's just not right. Hey, I'm banking on a 500 year this year, and you never know. Things might turn around.
There you go. So, well, good. Glad to hear some fun stuff going on, and that the two shows are going good. Then, so
it's going well. We've got a couple of podcasts that we're producing that are launching pretty soon, and I got another one that two ladies just went into production over the weekend, and they're going quick. They recorded 4 episodes, so we've got to go through it right out of the gate.
Really?
And wow. I've been going through and doing some editing on it and listening, and they sound seasoned already. And neither one of them have ever done this kind of thing before. So,
really? Well, there you go.
So, yeah. So we'll talk more about that as we get closer to a launch with that. I think they're hoping for the first of the month is when to get that going, and then just kind of stay in production, just kind of like you do with it, you know, and have the get the stuff out there.
Well, I gotta stop having people call and cancel me at the last minute because I did plan to have. I've had 2 people lined up the last 2 weeks, and they've all bailed.
It's part of it. I went through a stretch where, it seemed like everybody was something else came up, and I get it, you know, and it's just part of the process. So,
but we all live busy lives, so you know things happen. So, and I'm not going to tell someone not to go make a buck, or if they got a kids event, I'm not going to tell them to go miss their kids event. Just come talk to me. So,
definitely.
So, but anyway, so we'll be. Just last thing, I know we're going to be starting to call customers to do AC stuff. I know some people have been calling, but we're going to get Roy going on that here. Probably into this week, start next week. So if you're worried, we're going to start calling. We're going to start doing some outbound calls here next week. If you're wanting to get some stuff done, it's a great time. I know there's some projects that have been kind of slow that I think are going to finally start to take off. So if they do that, if you're wanting to get stuff done now, next 30 days, be a great time. If you wait until it gets hot, everybody gets busy. You know how that goes. So,
that's when, that's when a lot of folks find out they actually have a problem.
I was born with problems, but we won't talk about that.
Yeah. And, you eventually became a Packers fan, so that problem you grew into.
Yeah, and I learned very young that the Bears just suck. So, I got smart. So, it's okay. So,
sir, grateful as always. Looking forward to seeing some new guests coming up in the upcoming weeks, and we will see you next time. And we thank you for listening or watching this episode of Circle of Trades. Until next time, take care.